We're here with Professor Brian Moore, and he is Emeritus Professor at Cambridge University. This year at AAS's inaugural virtual conference, we will present him with our highest award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, on March 5th. And this is really to recognize those individuals whose body of research and scholarly activity has contributed both to clinical practice and to research endeavors and made a lasting impact. And I think on those qualifications, Brian certainly exceeds that bar by a long shot. He's published 19 books and over 700 refereed articles in his career. And I only half-kiddingly say I think that you can carbon date a hearing scientist or audiologist by which version of psychology, Introduction to Psychology of Hearing they use. I had the first edition in 1977 when I was an undergrad at the University of Minnesota. But I think, Brian, you're up on what, the sixth edition of that book now? Yeah. And I guarantee you everyone has at least one of his publications on their bookshelf. I literally just came in this morning, looked at my shelf and found this one, which, you know, because I've been a fanboy since the 70s, this one's autographed, Brian, on the cochlear loss. So, you know, the wide-ranging areas of research, not only psychology of hearing and perception for normal and damaged hearing. I think the other area that's been so impressive is the breadth of your research, in that you've focused on signal processing strategies for hearing aids, fitting strategies, and you've really put you've been the model in my mind of someone that took the theory and put it into practice, really from the laboratory into bedside. So congratulations on the honor, Brian. And it's you know, I would much prefer to be talking with you in Arizona this year, but we'll do it virtually until we can get together. But congratulations on the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I wondered if you could reflect a little bit on the membership that you've been had with the Auditory Society over the years, what it means to you. This is yet another award to go on your mantle. You've received so many accolades, but we hope you have our sincerest of appreciation for your contribution.
Well, thank you, Dave, for those very nice words. And I always remember being at a meeting where Lloyd Jeffress got an award, and he said, "I'm really glad you did this before I was dead." But I've always found the AAS meetings very valuable because they have a unique mixture of sort of industry contributions and clinical contributions and researcher contributions. It gives everybody a chance to mix together. And it's not just about hearing aids, it's a mixture of basic science, clinical applications, and all kinds of things. And the personal contacts are really an important part of the whole thing. And of course, for somebody like me, coming to Arizona in the middle of the winter is also a big plus.
Absolutely. It's winter. Yeah, I was saying today it's going to be 20 below zero here tonight, Fahrenheit, but we're rapidly approaching, you know, the degree temperature where it doesn't matter whether you're talking Fahrenheit or Celsius. I think that's 40 below zero. It's just damn cold. Yeah. So yeah, I would much prefer to be in Arizona with you.
Right, yeah. And in fact, the last time we came over to an ASA meeting, we took the chance to have a holiday in Arizona and see some of the wildlife and wild people as well. And that was great fun too. Going back to what you said about practical applications, you know, a lot of those things, it wasn't a deliberate goal on my part. It kind of just happened almost. And I'll give you an example. My first real involvement with hearing aids was when I was approached by a retired engineer called Roger Lawrence, who was building hearing aids in his garden shed. And he said, "Would you like to help me evaluate this hearing aid I've developed?" And that became the first commercial 2-channel compression hearing aid. You know, so I was sort of sucked into it, you know, and it's a similar kind of thing with other things that we've done. You know, it started with doing basic work on things like excitation patterns and loudness. And then somebody said to me, "Well, why don't you make a proper loudness model that's better than Zwicker's model?" And I said, "Oh, well, I'll have a go at that." And then, you know, "Well, why don't you apply this to impaired hearing?" "Oh, I'll have a go at that." And then, well, having done that, "Well, you could apply that to the fitting of hearing aids as well." And so it sort of just almost happens by itself. One thing leads to another. And I think just sort of follow where your curiosity takes you and keep an eye out for the practical applications and they'll come along.
Well,
and if it's all based on science, then it works generally in the end.
Indeed it does. And I think really what you've said with the Auditory Society is really that commingling of people across the spectrum, really, from very basic researchers to clinicians, is the reason that so many people look forward to the meeting every year. And although we won't be face-to-face this year, again, I congratulate you on our receiving our highest award, and I look forward to seeing you at the presentation on March 5th. And I encourage those of you who've been contemplating registering for the conference, please do so, and so that we can applaud Brian on a virtual sense until we can get together again. Thanks so much, Brian.
That's great. Thanks very much, Dave.